Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I am Ryan Clifton Bowling. Look, I want to get right down to it. I was browsing the Googling and so forth, and I came across a very interesting site called www.redstate.com. It's a conservative site. And I was reading an article in that site that does not surprise me. This is in reference to a group of Democrats in Michigan that declared war, according to the article's title, War on Public School Parents. And after I read the article, it was no shock to me as to what the article pertained to, because I had talked about this in several of my videos in the past. So this was no shock to me, but it just goes to confirm what I have been believing for a long time about what these school teachers are teaching our children and what many of these politicians are trying to accomplish, that it is nefarious and that it is evil. But I'm not going to get into the detail of that. I'm going to read a portion of this article, and I'm going to read the actual statements of some of these officials, I believe Democratic officials in the state of Michigan, and what they have said. I was only one of them because it's on their Twitters, but the Twitters have actually been taken down. So, but the article was able to get a hold of one of the tweets. So I'm going to read that. I'm going to read that statement. I'm going to read another statement from someone from Fox News that responded to this foolishness. And then I'm going to give you my opinion of what I believe that these officials are really trying to do in reference to our children. I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep exposing this as much as I can. So the title of the article is Michigan Democrats Declare War on Public School Parents. And it says, on occasion, the Michigan Democrats do their best impersonation of Michigan Republicans with a good goof up. 1 second here. That's not what I want to read. My apologies. This is what I'm reading. The Michigan Democratic Party on Saturday thought it would be a good idea to take an elitist shot at parents of children who attend public schools. Remember now, this is the Michigan Democratic Party. Essentially, the Post was telling the taxpaying parents to mind their own business and let the state teach your kids whatever the state thinks they should learn. So clearly, this is the opinion of this writer of this article. And I'm going to read one of the tweets from a member of the Democratic Party in Michigan. And this tweet says, "Not sure where this parents should control what is taught in schools because our kids is originating." This is just sick. But parents do have the option. They do have the option to send their kids to a hand-selected private school at their own expense if this is what they desire. That's not, let me say this real quick. That is not always the case. You lying demon. That is not always the case, because a lot of these, the teachers union and a lot of these politicians try to fight private funding and vouchers for these private schools. They try to fight them. The teachers union tries to fight a lot of these vouchers for these private schools. So it's not all, they don't always have that. Parents don't always have that option. I'm pretty sure, excuse me, if parents really had that option, they'd be sending their kids to these private schools left and right. But the teachers union fights them. But I'm going to get into that later. Get into that. The rest of the tweet goes on to say, the purpose of a public education in a public school is not to teach kids what parents only want them to be taught. It is to teach them what society needs them to know. Now get this now. The client of the public school is not the parent, but the entire community, the public. Really? So you mean to tell me that the parents who pay taxes to pay the salary of these teachers don't have a say-so in what their children are being taught in school? Negro, is you crazy? I'm a minister. This. I understand what my boy Brandon T. Tatum says. This is the kind of stuff that makes me want to cuss. These people are evil. They're evil. And yet people just vote for them without any thought process. But let me read on. Let me read on. As you can imagine, this is the writer of the article. As you can imagine, the Michigan GOP was thrilled to take advantage of a goof that they were amazed they didn't make. This is from Fox News. Gretchen Whitmer, Whitmer and the Michigan Democratic Party continue to be in the pockets of teachers unions, amen, and are so out of touch with people in Michigan, they believe parents shouldn't be involved in their children's education. Michigan GOP Communications Director Gustavo Portletto told Fox News Digital in a Monday statement. Studies have shown time and time again that parents' involvement leads to student success, Portello continued. Parent involvement is exactly what our students need now more than ever after a year of learning loss that will impact them for years to come thanks to Gretchen Whitmer's shutdowns. And I'm going to stop that article right there because I'm going to get right down to it. That's just a small portion of that article, and I'm going to leave a link to the website for you guys in the description. But this just goes to show you that far leftist Democrats and the teachers unions do not care about our children. I said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it. They are after our children. Why are they after our children? Because our children have very impressionable minds. We know that as adults, children have very impressionable minds. They're easily persuaded. They're easily convinced. They're easily tricked. That's why child molesters and all these other sickos out here go after them, because they're easily persuaded. They're easily convinced. You dangle some candy their way, they go for it. Their minds are very young and pliable. So you can mold them and make them into whatever you want them to be. And what these teachers unions and what these Marxist supporting Democrats and Marxist supporting teachers unions are trying to do is grab a hold of our children's minds and teach them filth so that they can prepare them for the future to be the next senator, next House rep, next president, next mayor or whatever, and continue their Marxist, socialist, communist agenda. That's all that is as far as I'm concerned. But that's my opinion based on my studies. The more I study, the more I read, and the more I observe, and the more I hear, the more I see it happening. The more I see it happening. They're after our children. And I really believe that more parents, and I'm thankful for parents coming out, by the way. I'm thankful for those parents that are coming out and are speaking their minds against critical race theory and against not only critical race theory, but books being pushed in the schools that teach degenerate sexual behavior. You know what I'm talking about. See, this type of stuff has been going on for many, many years in America, in our schools. It goes all the way back to the 80s and maybe even further than that. That's how long this kind of deviant behavior has been pushed in our schools towards our young people, gaining their minds, getting control of their behavior. That's how long this has been going on. But I believe that the reason why it is coming so much out of the forefront now is because of the internet. It's because of social media. The internet is not just filled with a bunch of cuckoos out there and conspiracy theorists like the left want us to think. That's just a mind control tactic to keep you from searching further. Well, it's just nothing but a conspiracy theory, so I'm not going to look into it. Man, that's a mind control tactic. I believe people should take the initiative to say, hey, I'm not going to listen to what these knuckleheads say. I'm going to go ahead and take some initiative and look into it myself and see what they're actually teaching my son and my daughter in the classroom. I want to know, because when they come back, they're coming back funny. They're coming back acting crazy, their behavior is changing. And I want to know why their behavior is changing, because I didn't teach them that. I didn't teach them that kind of behavior, but why are they acting so funny? Why are they acting so distant? Why are they acting the way they act? It's because what they're being taught in the schools behind your back. That's why. And it's been going on for decades, but it's about high time, I believe, for parents to come out and expose this for what it is. We as parents have the right. We have the right to voice our opinion. We pay taxes. See, I said this before. It's voting time. It's voting time. A lot of people about to get about them seats and so forth. And now and now all the Democrats have, these far leftist Democrats, not all of them. I'm not talking about the ones in the center or the moderates, but all these far leftist, socialist, communist supporting Democrats have is to spin lies. That's mind control, people. That's persuade. That's mind control, because everything that they say, what they do, they use inflammatory words and inflammatory sentences and statements to get everybody upset and angry and get them emotional. I said that before, and I'm gonna keep saying it. But when the person sits back and says, wait a minute, man, what's going on here? They can't really determine why they feeling the way they're feeling. You can't determine why you're feeling the way you're feeling. It's because these politicians and these teachers are using terminology and words to incite emotions in you, to incite anger and frustration, make you point your finger at someone else when the finger should be pointed back at them. They're the ones to blame, because they're the ones pushing these policies and ideologies on our children. And they know it. They know it. It's interesting me how these people even sleep at night. You must be possessed by demons or something, and you need a deliverance. Because I could not sleep at night. I don't care how much money they give me. You that sold out to a dark agenda. These teachers, let me tell you something before I end this video. These teachers know what they're doing. I don't believe personally one moment that they believe that it's okay to have a book and teach a book about a young boy feeling the private parts of an older man. Oh yes, it's a book, and I forget exactly where I read that article at, but it's in one of these schools. I don't know if it's Michigan or somewhere else. But this is the kind of filth that's being taught to our kids. Our children don't need to know that nonsense. And one person responded, I guess one person had that kind of lifestyle. His response was, well, our children need to hear about that because I myself was struggling with that kind of lifestyle, and I needed to hear that, and I needed to know that because it gave me comfort. Listen, that did not give you comfort. That fed that mentality in you. Just because you doing it don't make it right. And yes, I do believe in right and wrong. I do. I believe in right and wrong. Certain things just ain't right. And that kind of deviant lifestyle for children is not right. If you see that kind of stuff, if I see that kind of stuff in children, I think they need help. And adults shouldn't be poisoning kids with this kind of teaching in the school. The school's responsibility is to teach math, history, all of these type of things they're supposed to be teaching. A lot of that stuff has been removed and replaced with rhetoric and propaganda to control the minds of our children for some future aspect or future agenda that they have. And I'm tired of it. And it needs to be exposed. So I just wanted to say that, people, it angers me when I see stuff like this. And it angers me when I hear politicians talk like this, because it's evil, it's dark, it's nefarious. They're like demons in human skin. Because there's no way you can get me to believe that teaching this kind of stuff in the schools is okay. Look at the state of mind of our children today in America. Look at their moral values. What kind of morals do they have? Every time you turn around, they shooting somebody, they're getting pregnant, they're on drugs, they're committing suicide. And this has been going on ever since the so-called counterculture in the 1960s, when the new left took over. The left does not mean us any good. And proof of that goes all the way back to the 60s. This is a trick to get your children's minds. And I know I'm passionate about this, but I'm passionate about stuff that I believe is true. And it needs to be exposed. So, guys, look, I just had to say that. I had to get that off, man. I had to say it. I know you're about, man, you kind of passionate about that, but I'm just passionate about our children. I care about our children. I care about what happens, what my son is being taught. He doesn't live with me, but I ask him questions. What are they teaching you in school? What did you learn in math, history, science? What did you learn? And if it's something stupid, if it's propaganda, if it's this liberal nonsense, I expose it and tell him, no, son, that ain't right. That's not the way it is. It's not biologically sound. No, no, no. They're lying to you. But thank God my son has my DNA or genes in him, because he's smart. Not that I'm not claiming to be no great, but I'm not dumb either. I'm certainly not a dummy. So that, I believe, that passes down to my son. Thank God. So I just wanted to say that, folks. I just wanted to say that, look, we have to take control. We, as parents, I believe the way I see it, that as parents and adults, we're responsible to some extent at what these people are teaching these teachers are teaching our kids in school. And we're responsible to some extent, as far as I'm concerned, with the politicians we put in office with our votes. So what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, please press that like button, share this video, and subscribe. God bless you all, and see you again.